Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pacharine, Nivishesha Shunyavadi, Paschita Deshatarane. I'd like to thank Yuvraj for giving a very nice, short, but very potent talk there. We often say that eloquence is truth spoken concisely. And in this way, the audience can remain focused and absorb whatever instruction is there, and then with great enthusiasm, execute those instructions. So again, I'm called upon to speak. I was thinking the other day, when I was young, I was quite shy, and in order to overcome my shyness in high school, I took a class on public speaking. And but the problem was that every time I was called upon to speak, I was too shy to speak. So I failed the course. But here's an example that by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, one can overcome one's deficiencies, all deficiencies, lust, anger, and greed, even in spiritual life, in order to be a proper representative of the spiritual master. So now I'm speaking every day. And I was thinking that this Vyasa Puja celebration in India, in general, it's done on Guru Purnima. Guru Purnima is one day of the year where all the disciples on the specifically on the appearance day of our Guru Maharaj, our spiritual masters. And there's a GBC directive that it should be held once a day. The Guru should have that ceremony on the day of his birth, his appearance in the eyes of the disciple. And yeah, with who's ever there in that particular city or region that he's in. But it's changed now. Not only myself, but many of my illustrious godbrothers, they have several Vyasa Puja ceremonies. It hasn't come into question yet, and I don't think it should. Because this, perhaps more than anything else, this really nourishes the faith in the disciples and their spiritual master by seeing him on this day and hearing him speak, and also hearing all their godbrothers and godsisters speak. It also nourishes the Bhakti Lata Bij, which again begins with Guru Nishta. That's because our first step, well, first step is worshiping our godbrothers and godsisters. And the second is to worship our spiritual master, then Krishna. But this is a very nourishing ceremony, very nourishing, bhakti nourishing, watering the seed of devotional service. And particularly now in these times of darkness, with a pandemic like never before. Previously, there was the Black Plague in the Middle Ages. And of course, it killed more people than now, but it was more localized in Europe and other places. But this pandemic has affected the lives of, you could say, every single person on this planet, 7.5 billion people, in one way or another, directly or indirectly. This virus has affected everyone. And it's especially painful for Vaishnavas because, number one, they can't get out and preach. Although we're finding novel ways to do that. And number two, very significantly, we are separated from each other. So as several devotees have pointed out, there's nothing more painful in this world, quoting Ramananda Roy, than to be separated from the Vaishnavas. And the Guru, in the eyes of the disciple, is the best example of a disciple. That's why we choose our spiritual master, because it's Krishna's arrangement within our heart that we find a particular person who inspires us by their actions and by their words. So that's the meaning of Krishna's representative. Our spiritual master, he inspires us by his words, and he inspires us by putting those words into action. He's acharya in the sense that he's setting an example. So in the eyes of the disciple, their guru is the best devotee. Of course, the best of the best for all of us is Srila Prabhupada. That goes without saying. He is the acharya of ISKCON. But someone who imbibes Prabhupada's mood and serves Prabhupada's mission as best they can, for the disciple, that's so inspiring. So the disciple's always hankering after the association of Guru. And therefore, disciples look forward to this day, again, because it's very nourishing. So therefore, we're doing it more than once. And I see on the screen that some devotees who've already spoken or who may not be able to speak, or just even we have devotees of other gurus watching in, because the whole principle of Vyasa Puja is so inspiring. We're all coming back again and again and again and again for this nectar. And it is nectar. I think it's like a quantum leap. There's that saying, a quantum leap. You can take a step, but then there's I guess it's a mathematical, or in physics, it's a quantum leap. It's a huge step forward. Days like this, they act. Brahma Samhita says that we make advancement in small increments. Increments is an English word. It means like this: little step, little step, little step, little step. Because we live in the material world, and to make spiritual advancement under the modes of nature, it's not an easy thing. Of course, it's easier by Prabhupada's and Mahaprabhu's mercy, but still we haven't cried when we're chanting. So we have a challenge ahead of us. But days like this, it's a big leap forward, like Hanuman. He leapt from the shores of India to Lanka, one big jump. Days like this, we experience progress in our spiritual lives, because everything's based on faith, trust, and love. And that's what's nourished on this day. You may remember, Americans remember, but when we first landed on the moon, I think his name was Neil Armstrong. He was the first human being. There's lots of Davids up there, but they didn't see them. But they landed on the moon, and he stepped out of the rocket ship or the satellite or the spaceship, whatever, on a ladder down to step on the surface of the moon. And he said something significant for that event, but also I turned it into another, dovetailed, as we say in ISKCON. He said, a small step for man, but a huge step forward for mankind. Brilliant. A small step for man, but a big step for mankind, going forward to the stars, whatever. So I consider certain events, that we have during the year, Janmashtami, Radhastami, Prabhupada's appearance day, his disappearance day, Nrsingadev's appearance day, festivals, like we have in Ukraine, we have in Russia, the big Yatra festivals, Woodstock, Polish Woodstock, Krishna's Village of Peace, These are monumental milestones in ISKCON, and what they're like, that great step forward, that Hanuman leap to Lanka. We make so much advancement. So therefore, I'm in favor. I don't know what eventually our authorities will decide, about having several Vyasa pujas. We're calling them disciple meetings, kind of get away with it. But let's be clear. Let me be clear. These are Vyasa pujas. And I think it's all right because Phalina Parichate, get rid of that slide. Phalina Parichate means you judge something by the results. There may be so many considerations, but you judge something by the results. And the result is we develop faith in Guru Parampara. Not only we develop faith in our spiritual master, we develop faith in Srila Prabhupada because he's empowering our spiritual master. It all goes back to Prabhupada. All roads lead to Rome. So no one can take any credit, even if he's a master. In front of Prabhupada, he's an incy, teensy, beansy, weensy master. That's okay. Small jewels all together on the table make up something significant. But it's important. Another reason we can say that, well, I say I'm offering that it's okay is because this is a worldwide movement now. It's a different time, place, and circumstance. In Vedic India, you lived in the ashram of the Guru. That was the tradition. You lived in the ashram of your guru, and you served him from there. And if you were a lady, you also served the ashram, you cooked for the ashram, you sent things, necessities to the ashram. In various ways, the village supported the ashram. And you had a lot of association with your guru. And on one day of the year, you had Vyasa Puja. And in our own Gaudiya tradition, we see that during the time of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they were packed up tight in Bharat. His disciples were, let us say, mainly in Vrindavan or Bengal or Orissa, were traveling, opening centers, but it wasn't a big thing to have the association of Guru. And on his Vyasa Puja, you could come. Everyone could come in Gaudiya Math. And it was required. You could get association. Nowadays, especially nowadays in the last year and a half, let us say, there's so much separation. We can't be with our Guru. So we praise science and technology and giving us the opportunity to have Zooms. And we because it's such a worldwide movement, we can be with our Guru on Vyasa Puja all together. Several times. We have one for Vyasa Puja for the American devotees, for the Russian devotees, the Ukrainian devotees, the Baltic, But some of you are coming again and again and again. You're just filling up with the nectar, hearing the realizations of your God brothers and God sisters, which is so important for advancing in Krishna consciousness. So I think it's okay because Vyasa Puja is really a nourisher. And what is it to just click on, It's and they may say, it can go to the head of the Guru if he's worshipped day after day after day after day. But, as spiritual masters in ISKCON, we are being worshipped by disciples, different parts of the world. And the secret is to never take credit. To always give credit where credit is due. To be honest. One quality of a devotee is they're straightforward. which can also be taken to be they're honest. And it's a quality of a Brahmin. So those who have positions of any responsibility in ISKCON, whereby you will get respect, we have to always remain humble and never forget that whatever we are spiritually is, whatever we are materially, that's our fault. It's your fault. Whatever you are materially. But whatever we are spiritually, that's all the blessings of the spiritual master. So we should learn this technique. Rather, it's an affair of the heart, that whatever credit we get, it's immediately given to our spiritual master. And to our senior godbrothers and senior godsisters, or anyone who's so kind to encourage us in spiritual life. Immediately, we give the credit to them. We don't want to be, Prabhupada told a story one time about a king who was sitting at giving, you could say darshan in the sense of a king giving counsel to his subjects. And they were saying, like we say in French, vive le roi, vive le roi, vive le roi. Long live the king, long live the king. Okay, the king's our protector, protecting us from conquering enemies, and by taxing, he's providing wealth for building roads and keeping up the military and opening hospitals. So, okay, vive le roi. So Prabhupada said one time there was a mosquito. A mosquito was flying around, a tiny insect. And he happened to land on the knee of the king when everyone was saying, vive le roi, long live the king. And this ignorant insect, he was sitting on the knee of the king, and he was taking it that they were all glorifying him somehow. Like sometimes we take it, people are glorifying, yes, I have done this. So this little king, or this little insect with, Prabhupada would say, poor fund of knowledge. It's an ISKCON term. You never hear that in a classroom in university, in the world. They never say, you're guilty of a poor fund of knowledge. It's a cute saying by Prabhupada. Has so many wonderful sayings like that, which just make Krishna consciousness so interesting. So this mosquito, he had a poor fund of knowledge. A poor fund of knowledge. And he was thinking, yes, you see, I've flown from there to here, and I have a family of 25 mosquito children, and I have defeated, my opponent in a mosquito battle, whatever. It all went to his head. And he was sitting on the knee, and yes, more, viva me, more. And he got so excited that his stinger came out from his underside into the knee of the king. Got so excited. And king went like that. Mosquito finished. So we don't want to be like that. The mosquito, yes. Said even a beggar can be proud of his penny or his pence or his rupee, whatever. It's not, just the big whips in ISKCON. Even a poor man can be proud of his penny. So how do we avoid this? We avoid this by always glorifying others. We always glorify others. And even if we do it mechanically, eventually the purification will come, and we'll do it with realization. This is Vaishnava. Vaishnava doesn't criticize others. He doesn't. He's only. If we criticize someone, if we see something in them we don't like, we can only see it because we have it in ourselves. Like Maharaj Yudhishthira, he was such a great soul. He saw everyone equally. Therefore, it's said that Maharaj Yudhishthira, his enemy was never born. Maharaj Yudhishthira's enemy was never born. He may have had enemies, but he didn't see them as enemies. He was Krishna Bhakta. He saw them as, of course, when a tiger comes, you don't embrace the tiger. You realize he's a tiger. You love the tiger, but you don't embrace him. So Yudhishthira had to fight to protect Dharma, but he saw the true equality of all living beings. So devotee never criticizes. He thinks that if someone has a fault or doing something wrong, he has faith the holy name will purify that devotee in time, or that through the proper channels, that devotee will be corrected. Not that we have to publicly say, oh, he's this and he's all that, he's done that. No, through proper authority, one can be corrected. And various times in all our devotional careers, we need correction. So a devotee has this vision of equality like this, and he tries to see everyone equally, and he's very appreciative of any counsel that he may get. And so the spiritual master, when he sees in the disciples, he sees the good qualities, he magnifies them. And if this is the duty of the spiritual master, if he sees some quality that's not good, then that is his position to correct the disciples. Prabhupada said of his own spiritual master, he said, my Guru Maharaj, he was always chopping. Chop, chop, chop. You're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, you're doing this wrong. And sometimes his disciples complain of their spiritual master's chopping technique, but it's always done in love, like spare the rod, spare that, spoil the child, like that. So as the relationship with the spiritual master grows through time, we appreciate his, like it said, Lord Chaitanya, sometimes he was strong like a thunderbolt and sometimes soft like a rose. But the combination is that we become purified, and in a purified state, we begin to see the Vaishnavas more clearly. We begin to understand the spiritual master more clearly. We begin to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead more clearly. So these sessions are very important, these Vyasa Pujas, and therefore I'm happy to sit here. But whatever you say nice about me, I appreciate that. That's your duty as disciples, but you should know that where does it all end up? At the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. That's where it all ends up. And that's wonderful. Like I said yesterday, all roads lead to Rome. So ultimately, as a society of gurus and disciples and cooks and Sankirtan devotees and artists and teachers and, the most important Vyasa Puja of the year is Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja, where all of us turn as a collective society, the big, the small, the intelligent, the not so intelligent, the beautiful, perhaps not so beautiful, but it doesn't make any difference. Those who have done big service, those who have done little service, pot washers and teepees, whatever. On that one day, like you see a crowd, just everyone turns at the same time with their hands and offers praise to who's ever there. So we as a society, that day of the year, Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja, we all turn and we acknowledge him as the founder Acharya of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness, who's giving mercy to each and every one of this in this movement accordingly, as much as we want, as much as we've let go of our material desires and plans and attachments and opened our hearts to Prabhupada and Radhamadava, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Nitai. All together, one big offering. That's the best Vyasa Puja. But this is a good step in the right direction because the disciple feels that we can learn about Prabhupada from our spiritual master. That's the process. Because everything comes down to specific succession. So what I know of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gorkashtodas Babaji, and Bhakti Thakur, I feel I'm learning that through my Guru, Srila Prabhupada. So in the same way, there's a special generation of Prabhupada disciples. And that won't be there forever. That's just, hard talk. We say there's a television program in America called Hard Talk, where, no sentiment, just the hard facts, what's going to happen. So the day will come when Prabhupada's disciples won't be here. And I tell you, frankly, that something will be missing. Just like when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati left, things fell into chaos. When Prabhupada left, there was some chaos, but of course our GBC pulled together. So similarly, when Prabhupada's disciples pass away one day, something will be made up by the next generation and the glories of their devotional service and how they carry on the movement, sticking closely to tradition, but innovating at the same time to push forward Krishna consciousness. But, you know, it's like when a great Vaishnava passes away, it's never the same. The world's not the same now that Pankaj Jangri Prabhu left. You can say yes, but he was one devotee. But one devotee is worth, you know, 1,000,000 demigods. I think I can get away saying that. One devotee, one Vaishnava is, you know, whose only desire is to save humanity, nothing personal. It's worth 1,000,000 demigods. And Pankaj Jangri Prabhu was instrumental in increasing our faith in being a disciple, being a pujari, being a humble devotee like that. So it's like the world's just total darkness. And the real candles that light up this world with knowledge are Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. And it's so dark that if one candle goes out, the world becomes a little darker. So it's imperative that we make more devotees. So there's lots of candles. But when this generation passes away, those who, not that we're anything special, but there's something to be said about this generation for all our mistakes. What we did with the enthusiasm that we gained from Prabhupada's coming. I remember in the temples, something like Krishna's coming back from the forest. I would equate it to that. I don't know if that's Shastric, but in my heart, what do I know about Krishna without Prabhupada? So in the temples, I remember there was that special flavor. Prabhupada was coming to the temple, you know, he'd come once a year to the major temples. Prabhupada's coming, Prabhupada's coming. And then Prabhupada would come, and all of us, regardless of who we were, how hard our hearts were, everyone would cry. Everyone would cry. Jaki łez, we say in Polish, a river of tears. So, yeah, those were special times, and there's a special touch there. But that touch can be given to others. And that's the duty of the present Prabhupada disciples to give that. If they realize something special in Prabhupada, then they should give it to others. That's our culture. Whatever we have, we share equally and unequivocally. We give everything. Everything that we have, we give to our disciples. And will we be left to be bereft? No. Because the mercy of Mahaprabhu is he fills up the pot of mercy again. So I feel one of my most important services to all of you is to give you Srila Prabhupada as I know him and knew him and want to come close to him again. And if and when I get the qualification to be with Prabhupada again, I'll make sure that all the little ducklings are with me. That all my disciples, you know, like a mother goes somewhere with 10 children, you know, where are they? Come on, like that. So my promise to my disciples is that if and when Prabhupada thinks that I'm qualified to have his darshan again, then I'll make sure that under my wings are all of you. And we will stand together in front of Srila Prabhupada equally. Although you'll think, here is my guru, still, in Prabhupada's eyes, we're just jivas who lost the way. And we're coming home. So we'll all stand before Srila Prabhupada with clean hearts, our hearts with all these nasty desires. Go away, be gone with you, like Putana said to Krishna. be gone. So all the materials like, go away. And then quickly as possible, water that Bhakti Lata Bij. Because life is short and then you die. I just lost another dear godbrother 2 days ago, Mahashringar Prabhu. He was once a sannyasi in ISKCON. Very nice devotee. He had a preaching spirit. He died of COVID 2 days ago in a hospital, alone in a hospital in Jaipur. It was Sunday, no one could come. But I knew him well, and I knew that he was chanting. If he wasn't conscious, his soul was crying out to Prabhupada. He was a very nice devotee. So life is short and then you die. So do we have time to waste? Anything else? No, we want to stand before, like they say, stand naked before God. What does that mean? No material clothes, no material attachments. We want to be able to stand before our Guru naked. As Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj said, die before you die. But that's not a bad thing, but then wake up the living soul. Stand before Prabhupada. I want to be cowherd boy. I want to be cowherd girl. I want Krishna as my son. Or I want to be tree and give my fruits to Krishna and Balaram as they come by. I want to roll in the dust of Raman Reti. I want to bathe in liquid prema in Radha Kund and Shamakund. That before we die, that's what they wanted. No one should think they're ready to die yet. Because when we chant, there's no tears coming. So the tears have to come. That's a sign. Tears have to come. So we have a lot of work to do and we don't have much time. So let's just absorb ourselves in these type of activities, these Vyasa pujas, even if we do them again and again and again. I think it's okay. Because whatever nourishes the Bhakti Lata Bij creeper, the end result is Krishna consciousness. That's okay. Not all year. I think these Vyasa pujas are going for 12 weeks or something. But I'm going to be there because I love to hear all of you, because I see year after year, by hearing your realizations, I realize, yes, this process is authentic. Prabhupada said, this Krishna conscious movement is authorized. And what's the proof of its being authorized? All of you are making nice progress in Krishna consciousness. All making nice progress in Krishna consciousness. So for me, that's most satisfying. Because that means I can say to my Guru, Prabhupada, I think I'm doing a good job. I hope you're satisfied that all these young boys and girls are under my very humble direction, are making progress. You just see Prabhupada, this nice boy here. You please accept him. See this nice girl here. I think today we also have our Yamuna Priya. Is she here? Yamuna Priya, Hare Krishna. Yamuna, you're with us. Behind you looks like there's Govardhan Hill.
Yeah.
You're almost 9. Hare Krishna. You're almost 9 and you're making so much progress. You have the best attention span of all the devotees, because I can see their photos and sometimes they're looking and going here, but you're fixed. So I don't know who you are, but I'm glad that I'm here to help you. Yesterday she made a cake for me and I got to see it after the Vyasa Puja ceremony. And she also made a very nice drawing for me. So I told her I would send her some beads from Radhakund, carved by a monk out there, a sadhu, Radharani's name on each bead. And I told her one day I would take her to Vrindavan. She's almost 9. But in many ways, she's more progressive than a lot of us. So let's continue now. I'm just going to sit here and very humbly, whatever I hear, it's like water off a duck's back, or water on the lotus flower. It's just going to go straight to Prabhupada's heart, where all glorification belongs. So thank you, everyone. I'm sorry if I spoke too long, but I love all of you more than you'll ever know. Actually, I love all of you so much, and I just want to tell you that and tell you how seriously I take this responsibility. I really do. Even if you kind of forget, even if you go off, I'll find you and drag you back by the hair. That's my job. Guru is heavy. Just to remind you that I'm not going to let you go, ever. We're going to take you and tie you around the lotus feet of the divine couple, Shri Shri Radha, Madhava, in Mayapur. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Gau Premanandi. Jai Jai Sri Sri Radhe. Sham Sham Sham.